Whatever you do at the chimney, don't go down. That's the first line in a book that Avery did not write. A few weeks ago, a channel called Avery the Mayo uploaded a video where he claims to have found a mine in his world. He says he found it in the basement of an igloo, and he swears he didn't build it. Inside the mine is a chest, and inside the chest is a book, and inside the book is a very strange message. Whatever you do at the chimney, don't go down. Don't be fooled. He's listening. He knows where you are. He knows who you are. He knows if you're awake. You can't outsmart him. You can't hide. At the chimney, don't go down. 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 Over and over, followed by a sequence of numbers. And that's it. I find it odd that a random mine just appears in Avery's normal Minecraft world, and the cipher in the book doesn't seem like any sort of code I've ever seen. The appearance of a single letter surrounded by numbers almost seems like a fake attempt at making a convincing code, and I was tempted to believe that this whole thing was just a giant hoax. But in the spirit of Christmas, I clicked on the description of the video and found a link to something else. A Google Docs folder simply titled Footage, with one video inside, and this is where the true mystery begins. The search for a Christmas that doesn't exist. The footage begins with Avery going back into the mine, but this time he has a ton of items with him, presumably from his normal world. He sets up by the wall to start a new strip mine, and finds a cave. Nothing unusual, that happens all the time, but then he sees this. Walking closer, he finds something odd. Snow. And a present. Avery checks underneath them, but doesn't find anything else. These aren't blocks that can generate in caves normally, so something is definitely wrong with this world. But that isn't all. Avery walks deeper and finds a tree, and then another. And then another. Underneath each one is a cluster of presents and chests, all of them empty. For a second, Avery pauses, but instead of questioning this super unnatural sight, he just says this. Don't you think it's weird we've only seen coal? And yeah, I guess he's right. The only ore in this cave is coal ore, but come on, there's a bigger reindeer in the room right now. That being, what is this? If Avery claims not to have made this tunnel, then who did? Regardless, Avery keeps going, the trees getting bigger and bigger, until finally, Avery reaches an opening. This is ridiculous and doesn't look like anything I've ever seen in Minecraft before, although I am getting some odd deja vu for some reason. Avery continues to explore this cave, but the question is obvious. Who made this? We don't have many answers, so the only thing we can do is watch as Avery looks around in wonder. He checks out the giant trees and gifts, but doesn't find anything inside them besides this tunnel in the center of the opposite wall. It's dark, but he decides to go in anyway. Something is wrong. At the very end of the tunnel, a few of the campfires have suddenly turned on. I'm not scared of these campfires. What is this supposed to be? What was that? I've never felt like that in my life. I wasn't scared, I just felt... a sinister merriment. At this point, I have no idea what to think. This isn't like any Minecraft video I've ever seen, and it sure as Arctic doesn't look like Avery made all this himself by the way he's reacting. We're not getting any answers as to what this world is, and because of that, the only thing I can think to keep doing is to watch this footage, and hopefully we get some answers soon. Ignoring a few close calls, Avery swims through a giant network of underwater tunnels, but finally they begin to close around him. Until he makes his way up. Why this would ever even need to exist in a Minecraft world is beyond me, but Avery gets his bearings and takes a look around. At this point, I want to state the obvious. Avery's name is censored in this footage, and his skin is dramatically different. Why? I'm not really sure, but it doesn't matter for long because Avery suddenly snaps and runs to plug the hole at the center of the frozen lake. He blocks off the tunnel and begins chatting to us. If anything wants to get to me, it has to go through that, but I need to explore. What it can't avoid doing is loading this chunk. Interesting. For some reason, it seems that Avery believes something is following him, except I don't know how that would be. This world is allegedly set to single player, but regardless, Avery has a plan. He crafts a furnace and begins smelting some items. After then cleaning out his inventory and getting distracted by this random cow, Avery does this. By lowering his render distance and going off to explore, the only way that the items in this furnace finish smelting is if something other than Avery loads this chunk, which would confirm that something is here with him. He sets the trap and begins to explore. There's essentially nothing to find here. Avery wanders around this candy cane forest, but there's no clues or anything of the sort that answers the question of why this world exists. In fact, I thought this might have actually been the end until I caught it. A single block of powdered snow blending in with the rest of the ground, but it's really hard to notice, and Avery walks right by it, and then pauses. Weird. That's the third powdered snow we've seen. Third? What do you mean, third? But rewinding the footage, it turns out he's correct. On 3 separate occasions, Avery passed a block of powdered snow hidden in the ground, but he didn't give any reaction at the time that he'd noticed. He returns to all 3 locations, but finds nothing underneath, though he seems to be satisfied. Well, there should be a 4th one if we follow the angles. I mean, I guess that's true, but it seems like a bit of a stretch. Either way, Avery returns to the lake, and as expected, the items are still smelting. Nothing interfered with this furnace and loaded the chunk while Avery was gone. He picks up the rest of his junk and heads to pack up. Something is here. What? How? Why is Avery saying that? Why isn't he sending it in chat? What did he see? The chunk wasn't loaded. Except it was. The milk and cookies. When Avery threw out his junk items, he wasn't just cleaning his inventory, he was setting a second trap. When he returned to get his items, everything was just as he left it, except for two things. The cookies and milk he had were gone. If it was just items despawning, this should be impossible since everything was thrown at the same time, meaning that something must have taken the milk and cookies. And even worse, it must have known about Avery's trap with the furnace and reset it on purpose to make it look like it never came. I'm not jolly, but my gut says to keep moving. Maybe I am jolly. Avery's guess is right, and after mining the correct candy cane, finds a tunnel that turns into a maze. And slowly but surely, dead end after dead end, Avery navigates through it.
Protect me from you, my thief. It's getting later and it's harder to leave. I'm trying to heal, I'm trying to mend. Someone please come to my defense.
Whatever this world is, it definitely seems to be leading Avery somewhere. But Avery isn't just blindly moving through it. It's clear he knows he's playing a game, and he's definitely too smart to walk right into a trap. But this world is smart too. Whatever is following Avery and compelling him to continue knows what it's doing. Regardless of why it took the milk and cookies, it's clear it can hear Avery's chat messages and purposefully reset his furnace to make it look like nothing came. But why and what is it? I just don't know.
You run it through your mind. It feels like forever since the last time.
But finally, Avery finishes navigating the maze and makes his way into a giant room with a cipher. He pauses, says he'll need a pen and paper and candy cane, and then he waits. The footage continues like this for 25 minutes, the camera never moving an inch. But then, out of nowhere, he gets it. I was trying this cipher myself, and from the looks of it, it doesn't belong to any cipher family I've ever seen before. What's crazier is that cipher stacking, what Avery says this code is doing, is notoriously one of the hardest ciphers to break. It's when you combine two coding methods, one on top of the other, to make a message almost indecipherable. So how Avery managed to solve this with just a pen, paper, and candy cane is completely beyond me. For a second, I was disappointed that he wasn't going to tell us the actual message, but in the spirit of Christmas, he decides to give us a gift. Beneath a sky of melting gold, ancient echoes of a shepherd's mold, an old decay if left one goes, is unseen truth all but foe. Besides being cryptic, this doesn't really tell us anything about this place. It just adds more questions. But the puzzle isn't over, and Avery seems to think that whatever we're seeing here is some sort of combination lock. But his solution this time is, well, you know, a little bit more efficient. And with that, wait. Who's Durlor 3 Christmas version? For the first time in this entire footage, Avery's censor bar lingers for just a little too short, and we can see his name, Durlor 3 Christmas version. This isn't Avery's name. This isn't Avery's skin. What if the reason that this person's behavior is so different from the guy we saw at first is because it really is a different person playing this world? If that is the case though, is this before or after Avery's initial video? My first guess was after. Maybe Avery gave this world to someone, but then how would he link this footage in his description? If it is Avery playing, then why go out of your way to change your name and skin? Something about this just doesn't make any sense to me, but we don't have any time to think, because before we can, Durlord finds himself in the village. The village is strange. It's completely abandoned, if the chests and cobwebs didn't already tell you that, but the houses themselves are weird. They look like run-down gingerbread houses, and the highlight of this place, the angel with the Santa hat, holds no secrets in its basement. I don't really understand what this is, and Durlor doesn't seem to either. He looks around for any sort of lead about where to go from here.
I hate it here.
saints are insufferable. They think that devotion will save them. Rest assured, it will not. Not that it will do them any good to believe that anyway. The ones who realized it pretend they didn't. But it doesn't help that there are some of them who truly believe they'll be saved. The saint is coming, my ass. If anything, I wager that their saint is already here. It's watching me write this. I wager it is. Bells. Bells are ringing, and it's snowing. He's arrived. I don't know why anyone is surprised to find that out. This is exactly what they were hoping for. I'm going. I'm leaving this here in the rare case someone finds it. If you have found this, I implore you, turn back, disconnect, forget about this world. It is not for you. If you've come here, you must be curious. I know you must want to continue onwards. So I know this is a heavy ask, but please do not go any further. For your own good, do not. don't go down. Don't be fooled, he's listening. He knows where you are. He knows who you are. He knows if you're awake. You can't outsmart him. You can't hide. At the chimney, don't go down. 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 And that's it. The footage ends right there. Durlord was the person who wrote the book in Avery's world. What? That means this footage must have been recorded before, but who is this guy, and how did Avery get a hold on his world without even knowing? Avery said he found this below a normal igloo, which means he didn't get this world from someone else. But okay, if we just put that aside for a second, what was behind that door? I didn't put that sensor bar there. That's part of the original footage. Whatever Durlord saw behind that door must have been so urgent that he ran all the way to write this message. It's completely out of character and doesn't make any sense. There's just way too many questions here, but there is one thing we can solve. The code at the end of the book? This video is the key to solving it. If we take the numbers to represent slots in Durlord's inventory, 1 here and 36 here, we get this message. Be good, Avery. Be good? What? And wait, how does Durlord know who Avery is? If Avery found this world randomly, it means that it wasn't given to him. So for Durlord 3 to know Avery and Avery to be clueless, how is that possible? Whatever Durlord saw behind that door, whatever he knows about this place and why it exists, we may never understand. But one thing is certain. For heaven's sake, be good, Avery.